Hello everyone, back again. I'm trying to do a kind of a raw review based on some reviews I've heard from last night. Looks like a few things happened, obviously, that kind of actually what to see whatever comes of it. It wasn't exactly just a blank show with nothing necessarily going on. At least they gave us an idea of some different possibilities. They're hyping up the draft here coming up pretty soon. I don't know if it's next week or when it is, but I think that should definitely start to make things make some more sense. I have some ideas for that. Maybe I'll do a video on that if I get around to it. Kind of what I'm thinking. So, the first thing was after Rhea Ripley's vacation from the women's world title, whatever they call it, they set up, I believe they ended up doing a battle royal for it, and Becky Lynch ended up winning, which, of course, it's just typical. They do the same people over and over, and then they wonder why nothing really changes. They don't have new people winning. They don't have any of that type deal. You know, it's kind of the same old, same old. I've been tired of Becky Lynch for many years. If you really look at how things are, it definitely seems like within 3 to 6 years, on the main roster especially, you're going to get tired of someone. They haven't taken breaks and whatnot. They keep winning titles. They don't really have too much really that interesting going on. They're just in their position because they're in their position type deal. You know, we obviously know why Becky's part of, you know, her position and whatnot from all the agendas she's pushed and how she pushes the great feminism, you know, dividing of men and women, you know, all that type of stuff. I've done videos on that before, and I'm sure I'll do plenty more and reference it. I'll stick to the topic at hand for the most part. Also, they were setting up Liv Morgan because she got to the final two with Becky Lynch, which Liv is a former champion, which a lot of people didn't really like her title reign and whatnot, and a lot of people just like her looks, we'll just say. And a lot of people didn't like the promo she was doing and that type deal. I remember she had a match with Ronda Rousey. It was okay, I guess. It was just kind of weird. They're like beating each other with ball bats, and just it didn't really look real, because you would think Ronda Rousey would just beat her half to death with the ball bat and whatnot. I believe that was Night of Champions of 22 or 20. I think it was 22. I don't think it was 23. I don't know. Either way, it was in the last couple years, I know. And you know, I wasn't really too big into all that kind of stuff. I know there's some people that really were supporting Liv, and then some that really weren't. But it looks like she was the reason behind Rhea Ripley's injury in real life. So they're trying to make that into a storyline, which I guess I'll give them credit for trying that. We'll see what becomes of it. I want to keep my mind open to the possibility of it being good. And then when it goes bad, I look forward to trashing it. And I've actually been taking a lot of notes on many different topics, many different situations, and kind of bullet points that I can make videos out of and so forth. So I hope I get around to those. I actually have probably a good 5 pages or so full of stuff I need to work on. And that's without even writing down the reasons, just the ideas. So hopefully you'll be looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to making them. I'm just in the car here. I have a 20-minute video already recorded right now that I can't upload until a little bit, so it's going to take me quite a while to get that. I think it's the Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels Iron Man match. I need to upload that from Day of Reckoning 2, and then I'll have some more open space to kind of go on. As for now, I'm just trying to get my thoughts out. So since Liv took Rhea Ripley out of action, they're doing that storyline, and apparently there was a segment that I saw with Liv Morgan's terrible like acting and whatnot, where she goes like, "I'm gonna take everything you love," or whatever, and just very overacted, of course. And so now that Rhea's injured and she lost the title, more or less thanks to Liv Morgan, especially in storyline, now she had a scene with Dominic Mysterio. It just kind of showed him in the same room. So we'll have to see how that develops. I like how they didn't necessarily show anything about it. I mean, I'm okay with it. At least I can see the upside is what I'm saying. It's hard to say if you like or don't like something right away. Then if you're proven right or wrong. As for if it stays the way you wanted it or you don't like it after it comes out. But I can see some upside there. If Liv and Dominic start a relationship, quote unquote, like a romantic relationship, then Rhea can just kind of come back and be like, well, okay, well, why is this a situation when things were this way before I left and whatnot? You can really get both of them some big heat and then turn Rhea Ripley face is what some people are thinking. So I'll have to see if that happens. I think I listened to about 4 reviews last night, or at least bits and pieces of 4 reviews, talking about different things. And a lot of them had thought that Liv Morgan was going to win, and she didn't. I didn't think she was. I didn't think she was going to win. I didn't think she needed to, or should. I would have preferred to have Nia Jax take the title, because she hasn't had the title in years. I think she had it back in 16-17 era during WrestleMania, and then since then they haven't really done a lot with her besides they stuck her in tag matches or they'll build her up to be the big person to beat and so forth. They never really go full force with it. So I'd like to see that, especially on Raw before the draft. I feel like the women's division is such a work in progress. They have a lot of the women thrown into the tag division, so we're seeing about that. I'm keeping an eye on NXT for their women. I really like their women's division. I have to see what they're going to end up doing with those women over there. They only really push a few of them, so that's a bit concerning to say the least. And I got someone riding my tail here. So yeah, that's a bit concerning and whatnot, but at least what they're doing is they're making characters over there, and that's what I wanted to see. So I like what they're doing over there a lot. I think I should do a video on that too. I watched an NXT episode, and I don't know if it was just because it was rare for me or whatnot, or I was in a good mood or whatnot, but I really enjoyed one of their shows. It was the one with Joe Gacy and Dijak in the cage. I believe that was the first match of the night. For the most part, that was a really good show. I didn't think it was really overly long. I didn't think it was too many spot fest matches and so forth, so I was a big fan of that. Where it almost seemed like it was an old episode where it wasn't so much about the moves and whatnot. We saw the character development, we saw safe moves and storytelling. I enjoy that, especially because for the last several years, it seems like most people like. No, I shouldn't say most. Excuse me. The vocal minority. Wow, botched that a couple times. Have been all over about, oh, this was such a great match and this and that, and we need more matches, and let's go and push for longer matches and stuff, which long matches just push people away from watching. That's one of the reasons I don't actually go and try to watch the shows and so forth, because I could go out of my way to try harder, and I don't. I'll play clips and stuff like that sometimes, but a lot of it's just all for views. So a lot of times I know in advance what's about to happen or what happens, and I've tried to kind of get out of that so I can actually watch the shows and stuff. Between not having a lot of time, that kind of takes away my opportunity to decide that for myself. But anyways, I've definitely calmed down on looking for spoilers and that kind of stuff. Maybe it's just because I don't feel like the information's out as much right now, so I'm enjoying that. Eventually it'll all start coming out, and then ahead of time we'll know. it's kind of like the vocal minority, the podcasters and stuff on YouTube. A lot of them were saying how Liv Morgan was going to be the one that wins the title and so forth, and I didn't agree with it, and I didn't want it to happen. Like I said, I would have preferred Nia Jax over any of them, because really people were saying, well, Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, and Becky Lynch were three of the only possibilities of winning. The three bigger names on the show, because a lot of them are in the tag division, and a lot of them are from NXT and whatnot, and they're just getting used to being on the main roster. People are just getting used to who they are, that type deal. They're doing a lot of friendship and betrayal storylines, which is all fine and good every now and then, but it seems like they're doing it, or should I say, like heel and face turns too. I'm going to count those in there. Like, they teased one and they did one tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to the Imperium storyline, where they more or less broke up, where I guess it was New Day, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston beat Kaiser and Vinci, and then Kaiser turned on Vinci, which, I mean, it definitely seems like Kaiser was the one they were pushing out of the two. So we'll have to see whatever becomes of Vinci. If they're going to turn him into a single, they give him a new tag partner, that kind of deal. Kaiser and Gunther could be a tag team now, but in that case, I don't really see why you'd break them up anyways. And I'm sure people would have a fit about that if I brought that up to someone, but it's an idea that crossed my mind. I mean, it's their show. They get to do what they want to do with it, obviously. It's not my call what they do. So I'm not sure where they're going with it. And then now Gunther looks like he was glad about it. And Gunther is talking about he is going to the King of the Ring tournament. And then he said something to the effect of, I want to go after a championship. But he wasn't sure which one he wanted to go after. Which he also could be drafted to a different show or whatnot as well, that people aren't necessarily considering all their possibilities. They're just kind of whatever they want to see is what they're talking about. But at least one podcast that I heard, I don't necessarily remember if it was JD from New York or who it was, but one of them specifically was wondering if the King of the Ring was going to be for the United States title, or for a championship, number one contendership type deal. And one of them said that Gunther has a better chance of winning King of the Ring than Money in the Bank. It would fit the character better. I don't really know. I guess I understand the point, but if you're going to give him the title or whatever, you're going to get what you want. I just say go with whatever you need to do. If they're going to push him as world champion, they're going to do it. So either give him Money in the Bank, give him King of the Ring, or build up another way. I mean, there were a lot of chances for WrestleMania to do some different matches that didn't end up happening, and I think that was pretty much for the better this year. Plus, it gives us opportunities later. There's a whole other subject there I could go into about rematches and not really being too interested in what all they have going on, so to speak, when they do the same matches or whatnot. I actually miss the days when they more or less had most stories went for 2 to 3 matches. I actually liked when they built out a story like that where it would last like 2 pay-per-views at least. And the first person to 2 wins won the feud, and then you go on to a different feud. I thought that made logical sense and whatnot, but then, they wanted to speed things up and they wanted to make it not so monotonous and whatnot. Yet more fans were watching back in those days, just a thought there, where you got to see one person beat the other person, and you could actually build up 2 characters at once. Here, you're just having a 50-50 match, someone wins. And then they go on back into the shuffle. And they pull out a couple more people and they do a quote-unquote feud. And I can't even tell you, like, if I could talk to someone who knows this stuff extremely, extremely well, or whatever, if I had a document that had every possible feud and whatnot they've done, I wouldn't remember a majority of them, probably. I definitely wouldn't remember matches for many reasons. But it's like they don't really draw attention to too many things. One of the big ones they've done are factions. And then they all kind of did factions at the same time. It was kind of like they're still doing it, but now they're teasing all of them breaking up. Like Judgment Day, Damage Control more or less broke up. Well, the Bayley version of the Bloodline, multiple tag teams breaking up. It's like they need to stop with the whole friendship betrayal thing. Like, break up, come back together. Break up, come back together. You know, heel turn, face turn. Switch things up, I guess. But what's going to come of it? Is it something I'm going to enjoy? That type deal. That's what I'm keeping in mind. I'm actually surprised the video's gone on this long. I think that it has a problem when I try to record for longer than 40 minutes or so generally. Usually if a video goes over 30 minutes, it'll stop. Or if it's like 2 videos over about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. But if I have like 4 or 5 videos that are like 5 minutes long, it'll count the same as 40 minutes of content. So sometimes I just try to do longer videos as much as possible. Of course, they're harder to do because it's harder to actually focus for longer. I try to set up like a Royal Rumble match or an Iron Man match, something like that you kind of know is going to take a lot of time on Day of Reckoning 2, and just let those play. And that's kind of the idea. So that's mostly why I do those. Also, it lets you show all the different characters in the game and so forth. Some of their moves and whatnot. Some people working together. You get to see the AI be stupid, where they have 3 people in the ring, and then one person throws the other person over the top, and they're hanging there so they can be kicking them out, and then they attack the guy who's trying to kick them out for no reason. Like double team and kick them out, and then you're down to each other. Especially in a 30-person, 10-person, it doesn't go under 10. It goes 10, 20, 30. The problem is, I always try, put myself as the last participant. And from there, what I do is I let everyone else kind of fight it out. Usually I'm doing something else anyway. Sometimes I'll commentate over it. Sometimes I'm writing or lifting or sleeping or doing something in the other room that I need to be doing. And I let the camera roll. So like I said, you get a lot of that stuff out. And then I also try to put on audio, so it's not just staring at a screen. And if you don't like the audio, you can turn it off, but it's also very important information generally, or just whatever I'm listening to, so to speak, at the given time. I'm definitely trying to get a lot of esoteric content out. I'm trying to get the website to play. If I can get the website of videos to play, I will definitely be making an effort to be recording a lot more content. It also is difficult because I lost 2 of my 3 ways of recording, and then my other one is my phone that I'm using to record. I'm using that a lot of times, and I can only really record using that unless I'm at home, and I can use my other tablet that I can at least play a video on, or obviously I can record a TV or whatever else I'm doing, but there's no internet, so to speak. I don't have Roku and whatnot set up yet. That would be nice if I could get that going, though. I can record my game systems or whatever on my Nintendo Switches, and that way I can go on YouTube and do that. That is an option for sure. I'm trying to do a lot of review videos. I have many playlists to work on, from shorts to random videos to wrestling, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, all kinds of different things. Many things. I'm trying to give a lot of different topics and whatnot, so it's not all the same thing all the time. So I apologize in advance if people aren't necessarily interested in it inherently, but it's kind of one of those deals. I'm trying to appeal to many different things. It's not that hard to skip a video, or just give it a shot. Tell me what you'd like to see, how I can improve at it. Give yourself an opportunity to learn while you're looking at something. Take ideas from it, and make reviews of my videos or whatever. There's so many different things you can be doing. I encourage you to do everything you can possibly think of with that kind of stuff. Be very creative like that. It's very important to keep using your brain and think of important things like that, where you are you're very much paying attention to things, and you're thinking regularly. You're not just in a situation where you're watching something or listening to something and you're just so relaxed and whatnot. Your brain's so relaxed, you're not thinking about what's going on in front of you, or how you could change this, or what you like about this, what you don't like about that. Frankly, I don't get to necessarily think a lot when I get to listen or watch something. It's more of like an entertainment factor, and I'm usually doing many other things at the same time. You say I'm lifting, I'm reading, and I'm writing at the same time, keeping both my hands busy generally, and my eyes on something, or my eyes will be closed. So almost always there's two or more things going on, and I'm a big fan of multitasking, regardless of if it necessarily always works the best for me. And that's another thing I'd like to do a little rant on. I see a lot of people and whatnot that won't try to multitask, and I've seen a lot of lists and stuff that give advice that tell you don't multitask and that type of deal, and I'm like, this is exactly our problem in the world, why people are so beaten down and whatnot. They're not taught to multitask, they don't get things done, and then they are upset all the time. They're just like, I don't have enough time, It affects their whole life because they don't use their time wisely. And back in the day, that was a deal where some people would say that about myself, but I don't really necessarily agree. I don't really see what I was doing wrong at the time. I actually did a lot back then too, so yeah, I guess it's a matter of opinion, but I highly recommend the multitasking thing. If you have two good working arms and you can look at something at the same time, that's 3 things you can be doing right there. You can even be listening to something too. Say you're playing, like I could be lifting, playing a video game, watching something and listening to something else. It's not hard. There are things on YouTube that have no audio, like some of the Pokemon battles and stuff. I don't need to listen to audio of that. Even a wrestling match, I can be watching a wrestling match while lifting, playing a game, or lifting and writing, and then I could be listening to something else. So I've got a lot going on. My brain is working well and all that type deal. So it's one of those deals that works pretty well for me. And like I've said, I highly recommend it. You'd get a lot more done. You'd feel a lot less stressed. When people are like, oh, I only got one thing done, I need to do 3 more things. Like, you've had the ability to do it, you're just not training yourself how to do it. So, yeah. That's why I have things going on so much all the time. That I have a video game playing and audio playing at the same time. Meanwhile, I'm probably lifting and writing. That depends on if I'm playing the game too, while recording, you know. So I'm trying to put some level of audio up for the audience to listen to. And I very much appreciate you guys checking out my videos and stuff lately. I've been really going back into making videos. I'd like to keep it consistent for as long as possible. I've noticed a lot more views going on, and especially for a channel that's had 2 strikes on it and whatnot, you're not necessarily seen by the algorithm as much. But one of the big things is I'm not monetized. I would like to try to get monetized on some channels and whatnot, but I don't know how long that would take. I don't really have time to edit and to do thumbnails and all that kind of stuff. So pretty much the thumbnail is just whatever the screen grab is of what I'm doing. So at least you know there's content in the video. If you see like a black screen like I usually have, it means like it's just sitting there with it's just audio. It doesn't have video and so forth. Generally, that's how that works. Yeah, I've definitely gotten like probably close to 1/3 of my subscribers lately. I want to say like I used to only have like maybe 2/3 of what I had, and within the last, I don't even know if it's been, I don't know how long it's been really, because like I don't necessarily pay attention to what I had, my subscribers, and I'll go back on, I'll have like 15 to 20 new subscribers, every here and there. I'm hovering around 300 now, and for me, I've worked very hard for many years, and between a lot of the content and whatnot, I've had a lot been lost. I've had projects that I wanted to do for decades that I couldn't do. I've had business partners I've been trying to work with that don't want to cooperate. I've had many things keep me busy. I've had all that kind of deal, and that's why the content hasn't been as consistent and whatnot. I'm trying to make as much content as possible and try to make it as good as possible, where I have many, many possibilities. Like, I'm just waiting to get off work here, and then I will be making more content from like the video game and stuff like that. I did make a few playlists that I recommend you add to your favorites and whatnot, add to your playlist so you can check those out. I've got the WWE Day of Reckoning one. I've got the story mode episodes on there. I'm starting the Bakugan Battle Brawlers video games one. I've got the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Transer one. And I showed off kind of the deck they gave the female character. And it's a bit different than the male character. So I didn't actually get to start it, but I did do a free duel and show kind of what the build is right now. And then I opened some packs, so I need to go and work on that. And like I said, I've got all these lists, so I'm really looking forward to having some time to focus in on this. Hopefully when I go home, since I am in a long, commute, I have time to upload. So I just need to be able to upload here when I'm at work, and get some of these up. But the thing is about their internet is it'll shut off every now and then. So if I don't keep on it, it'll keep shutting off. Kind of like I woke up and the first, like, within like 10 minutes, I had the video starting to record of Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels Iron Man match. And then from there, I started that, and then, excuse me here, we got some interesting situations here going on with traffic in this highway area. I had them started recording, so then as soon as they were done recording, I had them uploading, and I don't think it made too much progress at all for a 20-minute video, because I like to say sometimes it takes like about 15 times what the recording is. So if you upload a 1-minute video, sometimes it takes 15 minutes to upload it. So, take that into 20 minutes of content, you've got multiple hours. So I was at home for about 2 hours with very little very little amounts of upload. So I was actually surprised that the camera ran this long. I'm appreciative that it did, though. I'm going to go ahead and take a break here, and I should be back hopefully right after work. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you. Love you guys. Have a good rest of the day.